13.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
You're welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I'm Nicholas Akosile Walter. Here are the news making the headlines. Second wave. Federal government orders a stay-at-home for 5 weeks. Ghana opposition wants President Akufo-Addo's victory overturned. U.S. Congress passes long-awaited deal for coronavirus aid. Nigeria's oil faces threat as electric vehicle sales rise. Jones makes UFC return against Adesanya. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be bringing you the details of our news after the short break. Welcome back, and now the news in full. Second wave. Federal government orders a stay at home for 5 weeks. The federal government of Nigeria ordered all federal civil servants on grade levels 12 and below to stay at home for the next 5 weeks. The chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, made this known in a statement in Abuja. He also announced that all schools will remain closed till January 18. Mustafa also said restrictions have been placed on social and religious gatherings for 5 weeks. He encouraged visual meetings in government offices and encouraged staff to work from home where possible. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control reported 501 new infections of COVID-19 pandemic outbreak in the country. Since the beginning of the outbreak in February, more than 874,617 samples have been tested by NCDC, out of which 78,434 were positive. The country recorded 3 additional deaths in the last 24 hours, raising the overall total in the nation since the start of the pandemic to 1,221. The NCDC also disclosed that 519 patients have been discharged after testing negative from the virus. Moving forward quickly, the Nigerian Senate doubts federal government capacity to store 400 billion naira vaccines. The Senate doubts the ability of the Federal Ministry of Health to effectively store and distribute the COVID-19 vaccines when they arrive in the country. The Senate President and his colleagues expressed their reservations when its leadership met with the Minister of Health, Osagie Nahire, and his counterpart in the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed. The ministers were in the Senate to brief the leadership of the upper chamber about the federal government plans to procure COVID-19 vaccines worth 400 billion naira to save the lives of Nigerians. The President of the Senate expressed lack of confidence in the preparedness of the federal government to manage the COVID-19 vaccination in the country. Lawan said the National Assembly was ready to support the funding of adequate vaccines to save Nigerians, but that the officials of the Ministry of Health must convince the Parliament that they had adequate facilities and manpower to protect the preventive substances. The Deputy President of the Senate, Ovieomo Agege, also joined in expressing concern in the ability of the health officials to guarantee the safety of the vaccines. The Health Minister, Nahire, however, insists that the country which had successfully fought polio would use the same storage facilities, which is the cold chains, to store the COVID-19 vaccines. And INQUIRY urged the Senate to have confidence in the plan for COVID-19 vaccine campaign. The minister said about 400 billion naira will be required to vaccinate 70% of Nigerians, 211 million population at $8 per person. He said 156 billion naira will be needed in 2021, while 200 billion naira in 2022. Quickly, in another development, government seeks understanding on road constructions. The Lagos State government commended residents for their perseverance in the course of the rehabilitation works ongoing in the state. The Commissioner for Transportation, Dr. Frederick Oladende, in a statement appreciated commuters and motorists for showing understanding over the partial closure of the third mainland bridge for maintenance works, saying the project had progressed to the island-bound lane of the bridge. He explained that the government was not oblivious of the plight of residents, adding that efforts were being channeled to complete road projects in record time to minimize travel time and inconveniences in movement experienced within the state. Oladende also urged motorists to be patient while driving during the Yuletide, saying most impediments were caused by unnecessary maneuvering of vehicles by creating 5 lanes on a 2-landed carriageway, as well as activities of one-way driving by both private and commercial drivers. And coming from around Africa quickly, Ghana opposition wants President Akufo-Addo's victory overturned. Supporters of the National Democratic Progress held demonstrations across Ghana calling for the results of December 7th vote to be overturned. Dressed in red, they sang their party slogans while police kept an eye on them. Ghana's Election Commission declared President Nana Akufo-Addo winner of the elections with nearly 51.6% of the vote. But the results were quickly rejected by the loser John Mahama, who accused the ruling party and President Akufo-Addo of engaging in fraud to attain power. The election was the 3rd time the two men were facing off in a vote. Akufo-Addo has been declared winner on 2 occasions. The ruling party has insisted that the vote was free and fair. The march was mostly peaceful, but some young men burned car tires, prompting a brief confrontation with security forces. Soldiers were called in to reinforce the police. Ghana has enjoyed relative political stability since the return of multi-party rule in the 90s. Still from around Africa, CARMEL President Todera says election to proceed after coup reports. Central African Republic President Faustin Archange Todera urged people to defy threats and votes in presidential and parliamentary polls on December 27 as news of a rebel advance on Bangui appeared to dampen confidence and spread fear ahead of the vote. Todera was closely guarded by United Nations peacekeepers and other soldiers as he waved to supporters in the capital city. Todera, who is seeking re-election, said they must recover the order for democracy in the country. Former leader Francia Bozizo, whose presidential bid was rejected by courts citing United Nations sanction, has been accused of backing a rebel movement keen on overthrowing the government. Todera's weak government, which rules from Bangui, is only able to exert control in certain areas, as where militias and armed groups are in charge. The United Nations peacekeeping mission in the country, MINUSCA, has reported responding to attacks by armed groups in different areas in recent days. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you updates from the United States of America. Please don't go anywhere.
up yourself in your most holy faith. Praying. When we pray, we activate our angels.
Pray until something happens.
Katoya, ile brakatoya, akapola. When you speak in tongues, you are printing money. You are activating your financial life.
Operation Jabez 2020 with Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. 29th and 30th December 2020. Happening live at the International Worship Center of Omega Fire Ministries headquarters, kilometer 132 Benino, Kenya, Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. For inquiries, please call. Prepare.
You're welcome back and thanks for joining us once more. Now updates from the United States of America. U.S. Congress passes long-awaited deal for coronavirus aid. The United States Congress has passed a long-awaited $900 billion US package of coronavirus pandemic aid after months of political wrangling. Senators approved the bill hours after it was passed by the House of Representatives. The aid includes direct payments for many Americans and support for businesses and unemployment programs. The money is to accompany a bigger $1.4 trillion US spending bill to fund government operations over the next 9 months. President Donald Trump is expected to sign the package into law quickly. And President-elect Joe Biden welcomed the relief package, but said Congress needed to get to work to support his COVID-19 relief plan in the new year. In the House, the bill passed by a vote of 359 to 53, and in the Senate, it passed by 96 to 6. And many COVID-19 relief programs were set to expire at the end of the month, and about 12 million Americans were at risk of losing access to unemployment benefits. But some lawmakers said they felt blindsided by being asked to vote on a mammoth bill without even having a chance to read it. At nearly 5,600 pages, the legislation was described by the Associated Press news agency as the longest bill in memory and probably over. Now, quickly, more updates from the United Kingdom. UK and France aim to restart freight as queues grow. Lorry drivers in Kent have spent a second night sleeping in their vehicles waiting for the border with France to reopen as politicians thrash out a plan to restart trade and travel. France shut the border for 48 hours over the UK's new virus variant, and the government said 945 lorries were stocked up near Dover, but the number now seems to be much higher. Other European countries are talking about how to coordinate their response. More than 40 countries have now banned UK arrivals amid fears over the coronavirus mutation, which now can be found across the United Kingdom. Measures agreed between Prime Minister Boris Johnson and French President Emmanuel Macron will be announced later and come into effect from Wednesday, French Europe Minister Clement Bernier said. European Union member states will meet again in Brussels to discuss a coordinated response, including pooling expertise about the dangers posed by the new variant. Dozens of countries, including Spain, France, and India, banned United Kingdom flights after parts of England including London, entered tough Tier 4 stay-at-home restrictions. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization said there was zero evidence at this point that the new variant of coronavirus discovered in the United Kingdom causes any increase in severity associated with COVID-19. It urged the public to continue with measures known to reduce the spread, hand washing, social distancing, and wearing face coverings. And quickly, we shift to business news. Nigeria's oil faces threat as electric vehicle sales rise. And the rising number of countries gradually shifting from fossil fuels and encouraging the adoption of electric vehicles may pose a major threat to Nigeria's crude oil exports. Sales of electric cars topped 2.1 million globally in 2019, surpassing 2018 already, a record year to boost the stock to 7.2 million electric cars, with China leading the charge, according to the International Energy Agency. It said 9 countries had more than 100,000 electric cars on the road, while at least 20 countries reached market shares above 1%. The demand for crude oil is expected to continue to decline following the surge in sales in electric vehicles in Asia and Europe. Car makers have sold more than 500,000 battery electric cars in Europe during 2020 compared to only 354,000 sold during the whole of last year across the region. Europe is the biggest regional export marketer for Nigeria's crude oil, followed by Asia. An energy expert, Mr. Bala Zaka, said the shift towards the use of electric vehicles and renewable energy would impact Nigeria's oil export revenues. An economic expert, Professor Obada Mike, said weak demand had continued to affect the market for crude oil adversely, adding that oil had continued to be characterized by low prices. And still on business news, NNPC's gas handling facility begins operations and reduces flaring. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, through its flagship subsidiary, the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, announced the commencement of operations at its integrated gas handling facility. It's also announced that with the commencement of operations at the facility, the quantum of flared gas in Nigeria was being reduced, as the IGHF had capacity to convert the commodity to revenue. The managing director of NPDC, Mansour Sambo, said the gas produced from the facility and sold domestically were paid for in Naira, as against what obtained in the past, where gas buyers paid in dollars. The IGHF, as well as the liquefied petroleum gas storage and dispensing unit in Ologbo, Edo State, are scheduled for visual inauguration today, which is Tuesday, by President Muhammadu Buhari. Sambo stated that although the project will be inaugurated on Tuesday, the NPDC had already commenced operations. He said gas produced from the IGHF was also being exported to other countries in West Africa, adding that both the domestic and foreign markets were being served. Quickly, we'll go on a short break. We'll come back. We'll bring you sport news. Don't go anywhere.
Of love embedded in glamour, a precious gift which brought us peace. It's a sound of joy and melodies from the heavenly realm. Christmas Carol service with Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman.
My lips will glorify you. The herald angels sing. Thank God it's Christmas. Thank God it's Christmas.
Happening live at the International Worship Center on Mega Fire Ministries, Kilometer 132 Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. 24th December 2020, 3 p.m. From for inquiries, please call. Come, let's marry together.
And on sports news, Jones makes UFC return against Adesanya. Dana White has claimed John Jones is ready to return to the UFC and has talked up a mega fight with Israel Adesanya. White revealed the conversation he had with Jones, saying he's in a good place and set to make his comeback to the famed octagon next year. The UFC president also expressed his desire in booking Jones against fierce rival Adesanya. Jones hasn't fought since controversially outpointing Dominic Reyes at UFC 247 in February. He has since vacated his UFC light heavyweight title as he eyes a move to the heavyweight division. In another sports news, Man United can challenge Liverpool for EPL title, says Keane. Roy Keane believes Manchester United can push Liverpool for the Premier League title and could be the reigning champions' closest challengers. The former Man United captain has been a fierce critic this season of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team, but after watching Man United dismantle Leeds United 6-2 on Sunday, Keane has acknowledged his opinion has shifted. The thumping victory over Leeds has propelled Man United to third in the league table, 5 points behind Liverpool, but with a game in hand. The United position in the league table for Christmas is their best since Alex Ferguson departed. This time, 12 months ago, they were just 8, a mammoth 24 points shy of the summit. But whilst Keane was impressed with Manchester United and optimistic for their prospects, he was underwhelmed by a subdued Tottenham side, which Mickey surrendered to a 2-0 home defeat to Leicester. Kane's most vehement criticism was reserved for Serge Aurier, who conceded the match-titling penalty Jamie Vardy converted on the stroke of halftime with an ill-judged challenge on Wesley Fofana. And that has brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you missed out on news details, here's the news headline recap. Second wave of coronavirus, federal government orders a stay at home for 5 weeks. Ghana opposition wants President Akufo-Addo's victory overturned. U.S. Congress passes long-awaited deal for coronavirus AIDS. Nigeria's oil faces threat as electric vehicle sales rise. Jones makes UFC return against Adesanya. Quickly, we have photo of the day. You see, in life, the person you look for or you took for granted today may turn out to be the person you need tomorrow. Let's be careful on how we treat people. You can as well drop your comments on our social media platform on Facebook, Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter at My Celebration TV, YouTube, Celebration TV. Always remember that the continuous transformation of our society is a collective responsibility of all. No matter the office you hold as a nation's president, a thought leader, an opinion molder, a character builder, a professional, or as a person pursuing passion, you have a duty to give your all to making the society a better place for us and the generations to come. Play your part today and do it with all diligence. Happy Yuletide. Thank you. To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amoso.